recording. All right, so this is Agrod. I'm here with Alir. Alir is the lead person on the Utopian.io project. If you are looking at this on the screen as well, not just listening to this, you can actually see a screencast of what we're doing. Alir, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Hi.
So the first thing, I went to the website. I actually just went to Utopian.io, and it brought me to a join page. So I'm going to go, I guess I have to sign up here. And the sign up process, oops, you need to log out before you can create an additional account. So log out, my account name is Agrod. Whoops, I guess it's not. Maybe I already did this once. So I'm going to go log in instead. This is going to allow me to do this. I'll type in Agrod, and it's asking me for my my active key. I'm going to go put that in. I can sign in. I'm not going to go do this now. And now I'm within the website here. So I can see the logo in the top left. So my profile, I can see, basically everything that's built into this. Now, what I want to do, like Alir has a 4 million SP account that he controls, and I would like to contribute to some of his projects, and I would like to get paid for having done that. So, Alir, what can I do from this point? I'm not entirely sure where I go. What do I have to do? Can you walk me through the process for this?
So you have a few different possibilities. The first possibility is to click on plus contribution on top right, if you can do that.
Yep. So now I see, what is this contribution about? Suggestion, sub-projects, development, bug hunting, visibility. You know, I have this I think would go under video tutorial. So am I okay to go click this as a video tutorial right now?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so I'll click video tutorial, and then it brings me some rules. Video tutorials using machine voice will be rejected. This category is meant only for providing video tutorials about an open source project. They can be in any language. I must be the author. You must embed the video directly in a post. I agree to go do that. I will do a YouTube video and never post video tutorials you have already shared on the Steem blockchain in general. All right, I understand all that. I'm willing to proceed. So now, browse GitHub repositories. So what should I be doing for the GitHub project? Is this just under Utopian?
Yeah, so you can just type Utopian.io and press enter.
Utopian.io and hit enter. And then I want just the main one here, Utopian-io/Utopian.io, or is there one specifically for videos?
This is GitHub is where open source projects are usually hosted. So the code for the front end of Utopian.io is hosted on GitHub as well. And the first result you see there, it's the repository for the front end project of Utopian.io. We have quite a few different ones, as you can see.
Yeah.
But the first one is where the front end code is hosted for Utopian.io.
All right, so I'll grab that for now. Contribution title. So am I creating a post while I'm doing this? Because it looks very much like a real post right now.
Exactly, you are creating a post. It will be immediately posted into blockchain, but won't appear in Utopian until a moderator will review the contribution to make sure it meets all the rules.
All right, so I'm putting in Utopian.io tutorial for now. Write my story. I will post this video onto YouTube and place in this box. So I'll beef that out a little bit. What tags do you suggest I use? I should probably be Utopian. Is it Utopian? Is it Utopian-io? What should I put in for my first tag here?
First tag is already automatically set as Utopian-io, so you have 4 more tags that you can use.
Okay, so tutorial, open source, what else am I gonna, visibility maybe, and I can figure out one later. Okay, so I don't know. So I can post this. I'm not going to post it now because I want to make sure that my video is included in this. And then what would happen? What's the next thing, or what would be the next step? It just goes directly on the block, and then I wait for Utopian-io people such as yourself and the moderators to go view this and sort of review it for a vote from the mothership account.
The moderators are going to review your post and write about any required changes if there are required changes. Otherwise they will just accept it right away. Once it is accepted, the Utopian bot will go through all the contributions and will vote the contribution if it's already submitted by at least 6 hours. So you have some time to gain some votes and some comments, since the Utopian bot mainly considers vote on your contribution, and based on that, it will give you a certain voting weight.
Okay. What do you feel like is in the most demand right now? So I know that I'm not much of a programmer, so am I immediately disqualified from doing things in Utopian, or are there ways that just me as a person can contribute that aren't necessarily like program related? What are you really looking for? What are you judging this criteria based off of?
If you click on plus contribution over there, you have seen that you have quite a few different categories. The first one is suggestion. So this is really something where everybody can contribute. So if you have an idea or something that you want to share for an open source project, you can just write a post under that category. If you're good in bug hunting, you could do the same and pick the related category named bug hunting. You could help open source projects by translating their local files. If you have some, if you're good with design, you could do that as well. So we actually embrace many professions out there. So this is absolutely not just about development.
Well, that sounds great. Now, if I choose one of these, how am I being evaluated? How, like you were mentioning, the comments and the votes. How does that factor into the reward that I would receive for having done this? How is it different for a minnow than somebody that, has a 400,000 SP account already? What's the difference? How does this work? How does that factor into the reward that I would get?
Yeah, so each category has a reserved voting pool, I can say. So if you're going to post under suggestion, you will most probably have less rewards than if you post under development, because we tried to define which categories require more work. And there are many factors that will make your vote higher or lower. The is just that you have to work on your followers, so that the more followers you have, the best votes you get from your followers, the best vote you will get from the Utopian vote. We also help minnows a little bit. So if we find out that you have less than 500 followers, we will give you a slightly bigger vote. But as I told you, the main factor depends by the voting weight that all your followers give you when voting on your contribution. Utopian vote, it's just a consequence of a human input.
So what about the is there any way to get the percentage that's reserved for these different categories actually put onto the categories? I mean, that itself might fall as a suggestion, but as I'm sitting here thinking, how I want to get these rewards, how do I maximize my effort and actually receive them, knowing what the reserved percentage is for each one of these might change my behavior as a user and somebody that would contribute to your project?
Well, we for sure we could write something about that in the front end. The Utopian bot is open source, so anyone who wants to go a little bit deeper into that, they can just go in our open source repository. It's a bit technical, of course, but the simple rule is that the categories where you have to do actual work, they are more rewarded. So development, translation, graphics, analysis, tutorials and video tutorials, and copywriting. For sure, they have a bigger reserved voting pool than suggestions or bug hunting, because you actually need to do some work there. While a suggestion, it's more or less just about writing a suggestion that popped into your mind. So it should be in general much more easier than developing or translating.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a good starting thing. You and I can hopefully do a separate one of these. It's less of a tutorial and more about why should I do this? Why should I do this through Steemit, and talk about this project larger and in general. But I did just want to start with, you know, knowing that Utopian is this cool thing and then knowing how to interact with it. Like if I just go onto the blockchain and I make a post with Utopian-io, will you guys find that and look for it? Or do I absolutely have to be signed in to Utopian.io and clicking that contribution button and doing it all through this?
You have to go through Utopian.io because you also have to pick the category and the repository. And that is something that you can't do into Steem. So
if I'm picking the repository through, if I pick like graphics, is that going to do anything to my post? You mentioned that Utopian is an automatic tag. If I pick graphics, does that become an automatic tag, or is that just something built into the back end of the program that you're using?
To the backend, of course, that will also be mirrored into the blockchain, but Steemit frontend has no clue about that. So if you go to the Utopian homepage, you will see that every category has a different color on the top, so that you can easily recognize what the contribution is about. And that's something that, of course, it's solely built into the Utopian frontend, and that you will never see into Steemit or any other frontend out there.
So as I'm on the home page for all of these that say tutorial, these are the ones that are kind of that maroon colored, and then anything that's a translation is going to have this yellow head bar, and anything that's a bug is going to have that red bar at the top. Is that correct? Like they're color coded based off of what, which one of the categories I'm doing?
Plus contribution, you will see that each category box already gives you the related color. So you should be able to easily relate the category you picked with the color associated to it.
Okay. And then, so I see on the left here on the homepage, there's contributions, and then there's also there's blog posts, and then there's also vote for Utopian. So can you tell me the difference between why would I write a contribution versus just a blog post? And then can you tell me why would I vote for Utopian? For people that don't know what witnesses are, is this just voting for a post, or could you explain in more detail what this button does?
Yeah, of course. So on the left, you see contributions, blog posts, and task requests. So contributions, it's what I've already shown you. Blog posts, it's about blogging in general, about open source projects and the open source movement in general. In this category, we are a bit strict, so you must come up with a very unique and original format. You can't just post about random news that you find in the internet. Task requests, if you want, you can click on that. So
well, give me a second. So if I make a blog post that isn't one of the suggestions that you have already sort of pre-programmed into this, but I write a blog post, say about a brand new open source project, is that also by doing that through here, is that still eligible for a Utopian.io upvote?
Yeah, of course. The rewarding pool that we reserve for the blog posts, it's much lower than the contributions. but still you will get an upvote. But as I told you, you must come up with a very specific and original format. I don't know if you have ever seen the Utopian Weekly. It's a newsletter that we make every week. We have a very specific format. We create every single project that we put into the Utopian Weekly. So when you want to write a blog post into that category, you really must, have a repeatable and format. It's not just about a random blog post.
Well, let's say I'm Jesta, and Jesta is this incredible programmer. He goes and he puts together SteamDB and he makes Vessel. Is this where he would do that if he wanted an upvote? He like creates an update to Vessel. Can he then do that as a blog post through Utopian and then earn a vote for his open source project that isn't one of your sort of flagship open source projects that you're working on? Would that be the right way? If, like in the Minnow Support project, we have Steem world maps, and Martibus has created a tool where you can go and like you're blogging from different places, and you would sort of put it on the Steem world map where you're blogging from, and it's this neat little open source project. Would that for that this would be a blog post, or like updates to the tools? Would that all fall under blog post for them?
No, that will fall under development contribution. So you can just pick the development contribution when you click on plus contribution on the top. You have the category development, and in there you can write about the code updates that you made for the project. In an open source project, everyone can make development updates, so it doesn't have to be the project owner to do that. Everyone who has development capabilities can push updates to the open source project and can use Utopian to be rewarded for that.
And
so that's actually the power of the open source, because there is a project owner that owns the repository, but the code is public and editable by everyone, so everyone can contribute.
And this is especially true for just the Steem blockchain. Like if I wanted to contribute to the GitHub repository for Steem or Condenser, that too would be through development. Is that correct?
But Utopian is not only about Steem projects. Of course, for now, we are very focused on Steem projects, but every open source repository you can find on GitHub, it's going to be accepted in Utopian, because we are fully linked with GitHub. So there is a full integration, and there are so many other open source projects out there, like WordPress or the engine behind Chrome, or I don't know, there are tons of open source projects. So it's not only about Steem projects.
So what about the sub project? I guess I'm not entirely sure. Like I understand what development is, bug hunting, visibility, copywriting. I guess I don't understand sub project. Can you explain what sub project means?
Let's say I think knows what is WordPress, for example, just to name a very popular open source project. It's a blogging platform. It's open source, it's free, and it's super popular. Let's say you want to build an entirely new plugin with a lot of new functionalities that's gonna have a big impact in the overall WordPress system. You're gonna use sub-project to propose your idea. So it's like a suggestion, but in much more deeper details, and that's gonna have a much bigger impact on the overall project. Okay, so a suggestion is just like a micro or a small feature that you want to suggest to the open source project. A sub-project, it's a big future. It's something that's gonna have a big impact into the overall open source system. So.
All right, so now let me go back to the home page, and I'm looking at task request. Could you tell me what a task request is?
So if you are a project owner and you own an open source project, you can connect Utopian with your GitHub account. Utopian will pull all the open source projects that you maintain, and will give you a possibility to create a task request. So practically, you are asking to the Utopian contributors, to all the people contributing using Utopian, to make something for you. So it's, yeah, a task request. So it's exactly that. And that's really important because open source maintainers can just request something that they really need. Because in Utopian, you can spontaneously contribute to an open source project and do whatever you want without actually asking to the open source project owner if they need something specifically. With this feature, the open source project maintainer can request something very specific, so the open source contributors can go there and do something that the project really needs. So it's just a way to focus a bit more on what the project owner wants and the direction he wants to have in his own project.
So
it's a way for the owner to crowdsource the development or the design or the translations or all the categories that I've shown you before using Utopian.
How would I actually submit the task request? Where do I file that?
Right, you have a GitHub connection. You see it under Vote for Utopian that I will explain what is that about later. So you have a button, Sync with GitHub. By clicking that button, you will go to GitHub. GitHub will ask you to use Utopian for pulling the information from GitHub itself. If you have an open source project, all the open source projects you maintain will be shown into that box. And you will have a small feature that will say just add task request. And by clicking that, you will be able to create a task request. So now I think you don't have any open source project on your hand, probably.
No, well,
on GitHub. So
yeah, I have something small, but I tried to log in and I didn't remember my password, and I wasn't going to go do that right now. But the task request is actually submitted through GitHub, right? So when I look at if I click on task request, I actually see these as all black posts that people are putting here. So after I go to GitHub and do I then submit this as a post through here?
You go to GitHub and authorize Utopian. GitHub will redirect you back to Utopian. And on the right box where for now you just see GitHub connection, you will also have a list of all the open source projects that you maintain. And from there, you will have a link to create a task request specifically for that project.
Okay.
So if you are on the task request page now in Utopian, you will see like the first one, developers for Steem Canon, help me build another game. So this guy is actually trying to find developers willing to help him build this open source game. If you scroll a little bit, you will see designers for Steem Plus. So Steem Plus is looking for designers willing to help me design rank badges. So as you see, you have the same categories that you also have when you create a contribution, but these are task requests. So you are actually looking for developers or for bug hunters or for designers. It's a way for the project owner to directly ask for something to be done.
These posts are getting fairly well rewarded. So this is a 59 reputation score, and they're getting paid $48 to make a request to. Is that largely from the vote that Utopian gave them? Are you paying people to ask for task requests too?
The philosophy behind this is that Utopian can help open source project maintainers growing their account to be able to pay bounties or to reward their contributors. So okay. That's actually a way for them to earn some rewards that they can use.
So if I have some neat ideas, but I have no programming skills, I could create a GitHub repository and then start asking for various pieces of this. Utopia would pay me to go help create basically fund a team to go do some of this work. Is that how I can interpret that?
exactly.
All right. Well, that actually sounds quite promising and cool.
Thank you.
We have three more buttons here, and then we'll talk about the witness, and then we'll bring this to a close, unless there's other pieces that I'm missing that you want to talk about. The next piece here I see is review. So I want to go pop open review. What happens in review? What am I doing with this?
Yeah, so here you just see all the pending posts that the moderators are still reviewing, public, so everyone can go here and see the pending contributions or the pending task requests. Everything that you post through Utopian goes into this feed first, so that the moderators can go through this feed and moderate them.
Okay, I have a sponsors tab. So what's happening in the sponsors tab?
Here we have all the delegators that have delegated a certain amount to Utopian. The way Utopian works, it's quite particular and unique so far. So every auto reward generated on the platform is partially given back to the delegators and partially given back to the moderators. So 20% of all the auto rewards generated on the platform are reserved for the sponsors based on the amount they have delegated. So if you pick Freedom, for example, the first sponsor, he or she, I don't know, has delegated more than 1 million Steem power. So actually Freedom has 32% of the total, 20% dedicated to the sponsors, if you get my point.
So this is from all author rewards of Utopian posts. It's not just them getting their share back. They are getting roughly 33% of all of the author rewards are going back to Freedom. Is that how I interpret that?
53% of the 20% in total dedicated to the sponsors.
Okay. So roughly 7% of all post rewards are going back to Freedom.
Actually, Utopian doesn't earn anything from it. So Utopian doesn't have a fixed percentage of the auto rewards generated on the platform. So it's fully decentralized. The only way for me that I'm behind Utopian to actually have a profit out of it, it's to delegate, so become a sponsor as well, contribute to open source projects, and of course, being the owner of Utopian-io, I also have the curator rewards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep.
I'm now curious about this, looking at this from the standpoint of an investor. So I like the mission, and I'd like to go invest in this, and so I can go delegate Steem power to it. What kind of return on investment do you think I would get? Is it best, should I just curate on my own and I would do better? Should I delegate to this because I'll get more by delegating to Utopian than I would just on my own blog posts because these posts end up making a lot of money? Should I just invest in something like a bid bot because that has pretty decent returns? Can you walk me through being an investor into Utopian and what the benefits to me are for doing that?
Yeah. So the 20% reserved for the delegators, it's actually just a way to make this more appealing. But the main thing that you should have in mind when you are delegating to Utopian is that you are helping open source projects to grow. So delegating just for the sake of having a profit, it's not really meeting the Utopian philosophy. But it really depends will grow, because we really want to bring more investors into the Steem blockchain by allowing project maintainers to also create bounties for their contributors. In that way, they have to actually load up their accounts with Steem. And we are also actually planning to provide direct delegation to project maintainers So their voting power will grow. So if you are freedom, you are actually benefiting from all the accounts upvoting the posts into Utopian, if you get my point. So if we have, I don't know, 100 big accounts voting through the Utopian contributions, freedom will get something out of that always.
Okay.
The more possibility for freedom to earn much more than freedom would earn by just creating by his own.
You think that he would own? You think that he'll earn more by delegating to Utopian, or you think he would earn more by just curating normally and finding trending posts or something and trying to get it on early?
I think for now, the distinction is difficult to calculate. But the more Utopian grows, the more likely they will benefit to just delegate Utopian than just creating by themselves. Because if you see, for example, Freedom has already got 1,700 rewards. It's gonna receive 1,800 more, and that's not including the pending rewards. So Freedom is actually having a big portion of the reserved auto rewards for Utopian. And the more these rewards will grow up, the more Freedom will earn from that. So it's really linked to the growth of Utopian, and that's actually built in the system so that the delegators are willing to make Utopian grows, because the more they help in that, the more rewards they will have.
Okay. All right, so I think there's only one or two buttons left. We have moderators, so let's go pop over there, and then let's go talk about that witness button last, and then we can wrap up this call. So what am I looking at? I'm on the Utopian moderators page. What's here? What am I seeing?
It's exactly the same as for the sponsors, but instead of having 20% of the auto rewards dedicating to them, they only share the 5%. The amount of rewards they will get out of that 5% is based on how many contributions they review, accept it, or if they flag it, or if they just don't leave it pending, because there are quite a few different ways they can moderate a contribution. So the more they contribute, the more they will get out of the 5% dedicated to them.
So I think I would have a lot that I could contribute to this. What should I do if I want to become a moderator? What's the process for that?
So for now, we are not accepting more, but for sure we will need more in the near future. The way to go is just to join our Discord channel. You can request to be a moderator in the general channel. What we will do is we will add you in the private collaborators channel. You will stay there for some time so that you get a feeling of how the entire moderation system works. When you feel able to actually moderate on the platform, we will give you the chance to do so. So we will just see how you moderate, and if you are good enough to be a moderator in Utopian, and if so, you will just keep moderating.
I just pulled the moderator, not the moderator, but I just pulled the Utopian-io Discord up here. You can see I joined it. I thought I joined this earlier, but it's saying hello again at 9:15. So I've joined here. I can see the general chatting, and this to me looks like a pretty standard Discord channel. And now I'm able to go chat through lots of the different languages, or from the different from different manager perspectives. You can see there's a fair number of different you have curators and Utopian Witness. So there's a couple channels that are in here. You can see Ari, Steem, and Alir as overseers. Some of the moderators, which are they moderators in Discord as well? Is it only in Discord, or is this meant to be there's not much difference between a a Discord moderator and a Utopian-io moderator. Are those the same thing?
So you have moderators. They are actually the people moderating the contributions. You can also chat with them directly here or on the on the chat system we have directly on Utopian.io. And then we have manager. If you look a bit further down, managers are actually managing the Discord channel. So if you want to mention a manager, you could do that. You could also mention a moderator, and they will both help you with your issues or questions.
Okay, so last one, the last button I see here is going to be, let me get back to a home page. The last button here is this vote for Utopian. What is this? What am I actually voting for? Is this a post, or it looks like it's for the witness? Can you go tell me what that is? And I'll go pull up the, I guess I'll pull up Steem DB and find the witness there.
So Utopian recently announced the will to become a witness. So what it means, it's simply we run a server, a node, blockchain operations are broadcasted and processed. There are many other witnesses, and the main the main responsibility for a witness is to guarantee that the network will be always up and functioning. Came up with quite a unique idea for this witness, because it's actually we gave it a fancy name, so a community driven witness, because as you can see also in the Discord channel, in the Discord server, we have a channel that is Utopian Witness. Every time we need to take a decision, for example, for an hard fork or any other kind of decision for the Steem blockchain, we are going to make this democratic. So all the people around the Utopian community will be able to be part of those decisions.
When hold you click on, how do you determine voting? Is it person by person, collaborators, managers, moderators? Anybody is welcome to do that. How do I know like what authority I have to go vote in that process?
Just post about it in the public Utopian Witness channel on Discord. We will propose the question, and you will just be able to vote with reactions or just with comments. For now, we will go this way. We are also working on a public voting system, so you will be able to just vote on the questions we will propose to the community in order to take a decision. But we are not going to count any Steem power you have or anything like that. It's going to be completely democratic and equal for everyone.
Well, this has been a great call. I appreciate your time. There were a couple noises in the background just as my house was functioning. Hopefully that doesn't come up too strongly during this, but I got a dog, some kids, and a little bit of Thanksgiving cooking going on. So there were a couple distractions, but mostly I think this went pretty well. I feel like I have a strong understanding of what I should do here. I'm personally going to take this recording, upload it onto YouTube. I will slap it into this post and go create my own first personal YouTube or Utopian.io tutorial. And hopefully this helps people figure out how to use the system, how to go about it, what it's all about, and how to get support from the very large account that supports open source projects.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to stop my recording and just want to say thanks so much.